Good evening and welcome to the Heroes Half Hour. The Alpha is back online. I'm Hammy, this is FailCraft Casts. Hope you're all well and good. And tonight we are going to be jumping into a little bit of a play and learn. And what we're going to be jumping into is Anub'arak to start with. The Alpha is back online, as we've said, and as it enters the final stage of Technical Alpha, we're going to have a chance to play with another couple of heroes. And the first of those heroes that we're going to take a look at is Anub'arak. So without further ado, let's jump on in to the game, and we'll do what we always do in our hero previews. Firstly, we'll take a look at the hero themselves, we'll then take them into training mode to see what we're up to. And here is Anub'arak himself. And Anub'arak is now dizzied and ready to roll. So, with Anub'arak, he's a melee warrior, as we can see. He is Warcraft universe, and of course, in Wrath of the Lich King, you may well recognise fighting Anub'arak in various parts of that world. So, as a melee warrior, what are we going to be doing with Anub'arak? Well, we're going to try him out in trial mode, as anyone can in the store, and then we're going to take him into an actual ranked game and show you him in action. So, for you newer players, or if you're new to Heroes at the Storm or MOBAs, Anub'arak, as a warrior, he's going to be getting up close and personal in people's faces, hitting them at very close range, and he is melee. That means that he's going to be swiping away with those big claws of his, and that very chitinous carapace and insectoid look he's got going on there. So what do we have? We've got 3 basic abilities, as always. Impale is number 1. I do love the little taunts going on. So Impale is ability number 1. Shoot a line of sparks that damages and stuns enemies. A nice close range ability there. Gain a shield, hardened carapace. Well, he's a bug. He looks very buggy, so I can shield and protect myself as well. And burrow charge. Burrow underground and charge in a direction. So Anub'arak can be zooming under the ground, popping up and doing damage. And then he's also potentially could be quite tanky with this hardened carapace ability. So we feel that we can probably do some good damage with these folks. And good evening, PG Stark, Let's Moldy Obering. It's great to see you. So let's jump in. Okay, what we have is our 3 abilities there. We feel that Anub'arak can probably be quite a our 3 abilities, we probably feel as though Anub'arak's got good damage dealing, good tanking, and this burrow charge we can of course use to escape as well as to engage. So we've got 2 interesting and different options there. Trait Scarab Host, spawn a beetle whenever an ability is cast. I'm sure those beetles are going to be adding to the damage and DPS that are around, so that will be interesting too. And then last but not least, we have the heroics, and with the heroics we have Locust Swarm. Spawn a swarm of locusts that damage enemies and heal you, so that's going to be not only damage but a sustain. That will keep Anub'arak in the fight longer and help us damage. Or we have Web Blast, warps an enemy in webbing. Enemies can attack the webbing to break them free. So we have a very, very powerful, I'm sure, stun there. A crowd control ability too. Alright, we get the point, Anub'arak. We know you want to get going. So let's just take a quick look through our talents before we then have a little play with him in trial mode. So talent tier number 1, and do remember that of course because the alpha has just come out of maintenance and there has been a reset, obviously we don't have access to the elite talents at this point in time, and we'll only have access to 1 of the ultimates. So you're going to see a selection of Anub'arak's abilities in action, not the whole lot. But if we had all of them, then Regen Master and Extend is a generic. You get additional +4 health per second permanently, note there, for every 3 regen globes you gathered. So that is going to permanently increase your sustain and ability to stay in lane. Extended Spikes, a longer range for your Impale attack. Persistent Carapace, you have a 2 longer second shield, and an Assault Scarab, increasing the attack damage of the beetles that you spawn by 25%. So do you want to be able to attack from further range? You can go a little bit more tanky, or maybe you can just add to your general DPS with those scarabs. So that is level 1. superiority. At level 4 we can have reduced damage taken from non-heroic enemies by 50%. That's really going to help us in lane and perhaps even jungle. Locust Needles, 35% of your basic attack damage in an area around the target. That is going to increase your farming ability. It will let you do area damage, but it'll also let you hit more minions with your basic attacks, so that will help you farm. Underking, a longer range on your burrow charge and a lower cooldown. That means you're going to be able to attack at a further range, and you're going to be able to get away to a further range as well. Legion of Beetles trait. Anub'arak automatically spawns beetles every 8 seconds, and it can be toggled on and off. Very interesting. So naturally, if you left those going, then you would be aggroing a lot of stuff around. So it'll be interesting to see how Legion of Beetles works. But that is additional damage, certainly, if you leave that toggled on. Level 7, Mercenary Lord. Mercenary camps you capture gain the following bonuses. What are the bonuses? I can't see them. Maybe they'll be evident when we jump in and play. Bed of Barbs, Q, a bed of spikes along Impale's path that slows movement speed and deals 18 damage per something. We'll have a look in trial mode. So that's a nice slow, and it's also a crowd control too. Shed Exoskeleton, using Hardened Carapace, your shield also increases Anub'arak's movement speed. I'm just going to turn down Anub'arak for a second. He seems to be saying that quite frequently. So we can have a bit additional speed for this passive if we decide to buff up our shield. Urticating Spines. Hardened Carapace also does 50 damage, so we shield ourselves and we do damage in an area. And that's a good farming ability as well. If we decide to jungle and we decide to build up our shield, not only can we take more damage, but we can do more damage as well. Leeching Scarabs is a trait. Beetles heal Anub'arak for 50% of their damage with each attack if he is nearby, so you've also got an option to buff your Scarabs for damage, but they can also give you heals as well. So Anub'arak, as a melee warrior, he's not a full-on tank, but he's got some good sustain. You can see that he can stay in lane and he can heal himself very, very nicely. We come to level 10. He wants to make sure you know, says PG Stark. Yeah, Anub'arak sure is persistent. He's slightly impatient. So, level 10 we have Locust Swarm, which we've already covered. A little bit of text missing here, but remember, of course, this is the alpha, so they wanted to get this thing live, not to worry. We already know that Locust Swarm does damage and heals damage. And then Web Blast wraps a target hero in a cocoon for 5 seconds, and then enemies have to attack that cocoon to get that person free before those 5 seconds. So, do you want to be helping your team with stuns? Do you want to be a damage monster? Literally a damage monster with Locust Swarm. Next up, level 13, Burning Rage, 10 second damage per second to nearby enemies. Now, that is a generic talent, a global one as it were. That means that you can grab it on a number of different heroes. This will help you farm in lane. It will also help you if you jungle. So we can see that Anub'arak has got some quite good jungle abilities. Now by jungle, I mean he can run around, mop up the minions between camps, and do a lot of damage to groups of enemy minions, perhaps mercenaries as well. Spell Shield, upon taking ability damage, reduce all ability damage taken by 50% for 2 seconds. So that will certainly help you in fights against enemy players. Chitinous Plating, or chitin, I can't remember if it's chitin or chitin, chitin, I think. This term comes over from StarCraft and general bugology, I'm going to call it. Increases Hardened Carapace's shield amount by 50%, so you get a real big shield with that. And then Symbiotic Armour. Anub'arak's beetles are also granted a shield equal to 120 damage, so that all of your beetles doing damage will be tougher too. Epicenter. Increases the impact area and damage of burrow charge by 100%. So our burrow charge, we're going to be flying in and doing a lot bigger damage in an area and more damage too. Good for farming, perhaps also good for attacking enemy players. Beetle Juiced. You see what they did there? If a beetle kills an enemy, its duration is refreshed, becomes fully healed and gains 100% bonus health. So if you can pick people off with your beetles, you're going to keep them alive and with you attacking, doing more damage for longer. Blood for Blood. Activate to seal 15% of enemy target's max health. Lovely stuff. And then Rewind. Activate to reduce the cooldown of your basic. So again, 2 generic abilities there, but both handy. You can see stealing target enemy's max health, that's going to be keeping Anub'arak alive for longer, and reduced cooldowns equals more damage. And then we get to level 20, Resurgence of the Storm and Fury of the Storm. Those are generic too, so you can get a faster revive with Resurgence of the Storm, and bouncing attacks with Fury of the Storm. Then of course remember that at level 20 in Heroes of the Storm you always get an upgrade if you want to choose it for your heroic ability. So Hive Master, you get a permanent Vampire Locust that attacks a nearby enemy every 3 seconds. I'll be interested to see the rest of the text for that. Then Crypt Weave, gain a new ability to reinforce a Web Blast victim, increasing the time the target is trapped. So a longer stun for your Web Blast. That will be very, very nice indeed. Okay, so we've run through Anub'arak's abilities in a basic sense. We've then taken a look at his talents and seen how that could affect how we can build him. Now we're only going to build him one way when we jump into the actual game that we play, if we play some Versus, because we've not leveled up just yet to get to the expert talents or the second ultimate. But not to worry, we will do thing number 2, hit try. Now when you get into Hero of the Storm, it's really, really good, this feature, because you can hit try on any hero in the shop and you can then go into a little bot match and give it a go. So you can feel if the hero is good for you, and the good thing as well is that you immediately get it with all of the different abilities unlocked. So that way you can try it out, you can think, is it for me? You can even try out some abilities before you actually jump in and make that purchase. And a big welcome to him, Luca, as well, and who is joining us for the first time. Okay, so jumping into this try mode, if you've never seen it before, you can level up, you can put some minions on, and you just have one lane of an effective map. So I'm going to level up ourselves straight to 20 so we can take a look at all of our builds. And there we go. So we've hit level 20, so we've got indubitably. Now Anub'arak looks like the kind of guy who, yep, you can see you can press Z and he can fly, and you can press Z again. So Anub'arak, because he's a big monstrous bug, is not going to be getting on a mount, unlike Malfurion here. So let's pick some talents. What kind of Anub'arak do we want to be building? So I like the sound of a sort of very high damagey Anub'arak, so I'm going to grab extended spikes. I'm going to grab some things that actually let us have a look. Increase range and lower cooldown on the burrow charge. I think that'll be good to see. Legion of Beetles also sounds fun. I'm going to go for Legions of Beetles because Under King is just range. What else do we have? Shed Exo, increased movement speed, area damage for Hardened Carapace, that sounds fun, and Beetles healing. I'm going to go for a Beetles build. Let's then go for Locust Swarm. I think we know what wrapping an enemy in a cocoon will be like. No generics, an increased shield. Beetle's getting a shield. I'm going for a Beetle-y damagey build. Epicenter, that will buff. Beetlejuiced, blood for blood. Let's go for Epicenter for our burrow charge, and then perhaps Hive Master for a permanent life-stealing Locust. There we go, we can see this text. So the Vampire Locust heals 336 and returns to heal Anub'arak for 100 health. Very, very nice. That I can see is keeping us in the game for quite some time. So let's get out there into lane and see what we can do. Ooh. What have we got there? Is that my Vampire Locust? Maybe it is. You gain a permanent Vampire Locust. Yeah, that is my Vampire Locust. I like it. Okay, so in try mode we can then toggle minions. That turns on a bot, and introducing to you Arthas. So poor Arthas is always the bot that gets brought out in this. Maybe they'll mix it up. So let's take a little look at how Anub'arak plays. So Impale, I've got an increased range. I deal 220 and I have a stun. So look at that, that's quite a long range. And you see a very, very quick stun. So I'm going to clear cooldowns, we'll throw that out. You can see that it has a very short stun when it bounces them up in the air. Oh, that's already on the retreat. So with Impale you can see us using that, it's dealing a bunch of damage in a line as well. There we go, there's the stun. You saw the stun on everything, not just the minion that was targeted. So we can swing in there. So nice damage dealing ability, and also that stun can help perhaps be initiator as well. You can start doing things to mess up your enemy opponent's sort of moves. When you're in a team fight, for example, you could pick out a target and stun it, and then your team could move in. That's what I mean by mess up your enemy opponent's moves. Next up we've got Hardened Carapace, that's our shield, so it's a 720 point shield, and then my Beetles also get a shield. So I'm spawning Beetles at the moment, and these Beetles will heal me too. So where are my Beetles? Give me some Beetles. Beetles last for 10 seconds, so it's when I cast an ability that the beetles get spawned. That's my vampire locust, the thing flying around me, and then we've also got that beetle too. So there you go. I'll put that on. You can see that when I hit Hardened Carapace, I get a 720 point shield. It's that buff you can just see popping over me there. And there it is, Hardened Carapace, shielded from damage. You can take a little bit of extra damage and go and hit that tower. So now Burrow Charge, ability number 3. Burrow to the location, do damage and stun enemies in a small area, and you can reactivate it to surface early. So there's Burrow Charge in its glory. I'm just going to hit it. You can see I burrow underneath and pop up. Now if I clear cooldowns, let's see that early surface. So if I hit it again, look, I hit that and manage to pop up early. I do a stun when I come up and I do damage as well. So that's a real nice way of let's surprise Arthas with Burrow Charge, shall we? Now note that I'm going to press the button to pop up early. Does a little stun. Lovely stuff. Last but not least, we have Locust Swarm. Deals 108 damage per second in area around him, and each enemy damaged heals me for 50 health, so that means I can heal up nice and quickly too. And then we've also got my upgrade. I get my Vampire Locust that will attack enemies and will also heal me, so I've got brilliant sustain. To finish up with, let's hit Vampire Locust. You can see my Locust Swarm flying. I'm then going to Burrow Charge and see if I can catch him up, pop up, and can I kill him before he heals? Yes I can. Lovely stuff. So there's an example of a very attacky, locust bug focused Anub'arak build. So that's a quick preview of Anub'arak's abilities. What we're now going to do is jump straight into a game and show you Anub'arak in action, which will be lots of fun. So what I would always recommend is if you're not experienced at playing MOBAs or similar, do take any new hero you have, do play it a huge bunch. In practice mode, I'm just going to quickly show you where you can go when you get into the alpha, or if you're playing heroes for the first time, you should very much go to this change mode. You should try practice, just try them out. You can also do the try mode in the shop like I showed you there. You can always go cooperative, which is you and other human players against the computer. Try it out, get a hang of your hero before you jump into a versus. Because I've played a few of these kind of games before and I've been playing for this a while, I feel reasonably confident to jump into a versus. So there is Anub'arak himself. This game is on. I'm ready to rock and roll. Versus mode. Play. Ready. Let's get myself involved. Okay, so Anub'arak, how are we going to be playing Anub'arak? Well, we know we can build him tanky, we know we can build him with some great damage, and he does seem to have this big sustain ability. Now by sustain I mean that he can stay in lane, he can stay out in the field quite a bunch, and he can heal himself a lot with a lot of his abilities. Garden of Terror, okay. So I think that given our limitations, we've only got the one ultimate, we don't have all of the talents, we're going to build him as a damage dealing melee warrior, pretty simply. We could of course take a whole bunch of those talents to make him more tanky with shields, and we could always take lots of those health restoration abilities as well to make a sort of slightly more tanky sort of warrior healy type character. So we're going to go for damage. So we are jumping as I take a little swing into Garden of Terror. For those of you new to Heroes, Heroes maps you always have to split between sort of 3 different things. You need to make sure that you're working on minions in lane, you're trying to win your lane by pushing forward, killing minions, killing turrets and tanks and various other things, and then killing your enemy's core, the base, to win the game. You then also need to make sure you're joining your team in team fights. If your team is fighting the enemy team, you want to make sure you're even numbered. And then last but not least, you need to worry about the map objectives. And for map objectives, in this Garden of Terror has a day and night cycle. I'm going to go for my spike range, by the way. At night, creatures spawn. You need to kill those creatures for seeds. When you get enough seeds, you can see back at your base at this sort of patch, you spawn a big beast, and then you can take over that beast and start wrecking the enemy's base. So Anub'arak, I'm going to sit in a lane and apply pressure. I'm going to make sure I move around and sustain myself well. I need to level up and build for some nice damage. So what is going on? Okay, we've got a 2v1 in this top lane. I'm going to go and assist the top lane. We've got Stitches, one person coming to me. We've got two in our middle lane. We've got no one in our bottom. That's not the greatest start. Because there's a 2v1 up here, I'm going to come and assist. Okay, so there is. I've taken some damage. There's someone else around. I'm going to jump on in. Right, 4 of us in the top lane now. Sorry, 4 in mid. A tad excessive. I'm going to head on top. So I can impale, remember I can charge underneath, and I can always throw myself a shield if I'm in trouble. So coming into the jungle, 2 people here, I'm going to target my burrow charge and pop up suddenly, throw down my shield, throw down the spikes. We've managed to stun Kerrigan there as well. Get some pressure on, remember Kerrigan here is a bot. Charging forward, apply my shield again, keep hitting Kerrigan. Can we kill Kerrigan? Nope, not quite before they get into the base, so I need to charge back. Arthas is in trouble on the bottom lane. All 4 of our team at the top lane. We need to try and give some help to the bottom. So it looks as though that Stitches is moving. I'm going to stay with Valor in this top lane. Okay, Stitches isn't moving, so I'm going to charge to the bottom. It is now night time. I'm going to take the middle lane because our entire team seems to be drifting quite a lot between lanes. So now it is night time, of course. Then what our teams are going to be doing, as you can see my team are doing here, they're attacking things to try and get seeds, and you can see the seed amounts underneath the map in the bottom right hand corner. When we get to 100 seeds we can spawn the Garden Terror, and that is a big minion that will do a lot of damage when we control it. Next up, I'm going to make sure my basic attacks deal area damage. That's going to help me farm. I'm going to come and help my team farm seeds at this point. Arthas is under quite a lot of pressure in the bottom lane. We're probably going to have to give him some help. Just grab some seeds here and then we'll move to the bottom lane. So far you can see that I've built so that my basic attacks do area damage. That will help me farm in lane. I'll just show you that here. Up go my spikes, down goes my shield. I can even burrow charge underneath. I'm going to press the button to cancel it early. Went a little bit too far there. I'm just going to clear out these siege ogres in the middle lane. Our enemy team obviously going for the mercenaries. Now mercenaries and heroes over this. Oh, I'm under pressure. Quick! Oh dear! I should have burrow charged away and got caught napping there, meaning that I got taken out by this Valor. Very not the greatest play by me there. So up we get. Need to get back into the middle. We're 90-90 in terms of seed, so we're both almost at the point of grabbing a Garden Terror, but it's now daytime. So because it's daytime, we can't grab anything that will get seeds. Two in the top lane, see if we can get some ganking going. And we're even on levels. You can see we're actually slightly ahead when it comes to experience. We're about to level 6. Now remember, in Heroes of the Storm you level as a team rather than individuals. The difference there is that you can come back. So I'm going to come into this middle lane. You can see Arthas is there. I don't know where Kerrigan has gone. There's Kerrigan. I'm going to apply my shield. Burrow charge I'm going to keep. And you can see here I can use burrow charge to charge and then pop myself up with that stun on Kerrigan as well. Can we grab Kerrigan? Kerrigan is of course a bot, so it's a tad harsh. Another stun using my impale. Siegfried is stunned, but I've learnt from my mistakes last time. Talent comes up, I'm going to grab better barbs, buffing my Q. I'm going to slow enemies as well. I'll throw out an impale, and there goes an enemy slain on Arthas. So now I'm going to move in. We're going to see exactly how tanky Anub'arak. It'll probably be quite hard for me to tank that hard camp. I can probably take this easy camp, no problem. So let's take a look at my impale now. So my impale now does more range and it does a bed of spikes, which slows speed and deals damage per second. So you can see I spike both of those two, apply my shield, in I come. Remember my basic attacks are also doing area damage, meaning that if I can get these guys lined up correctly, I can damage both of them at the same time. I can also throw out a burrow charge to do a bit of extra damage, throw out my shield, throw down my spikes again, and you can see that I'm dealing with these mercenaries fairly well. In comes Valor to give me a hand. That will speed things up. So you can see at the moment I'm quite tanky, taking some nice damage. You can see that blue on the end of my health bar doing some nice additional, giving me a bit of nice additional shielding. Here's Kerrigan. This is playing against a bot, remember. The player playing Kerrigan has left, throw up another shield. Kerrigan doing a lot of damage to me. I'm going to make sure that I juke around and drop back to the healing fountain. Lovely stuff. Okay, I've managed to top myself up on that healing fountain. We've got a big team fight going on in the middle. Valor is causing some trouble there. I'm going to see if I can intercept using my burrow charge. Can't quite grab it, and it looks as though that they've managed to jump back into the base and stay safe. Okay, so the knight is coming, and with the knight means that we can get those final 10 seeds we need to summon our Garden Terror. It's probably going to be Garden Terror versus Garden Terror in this situation because our opponents are also on 90 as well. Choosing a talent, I've got my heroic Locust Swarm, so you can see that we've hit level 10 before our opponents. Well, that's important is that if we have a fight now, we have our heroic abilities and our opponents do not. Okay, fight going on here. More than I'm going to try and burrow in, see if I can do something there. Oh, he's managed to escape us. Valor has gone down, nicely done. We're still 95. We can grab this for some more seeds. I'm going to hit that up. You can see that both of our Garden Terrors are now growing, so I hope that someone from our team is going to go back and grab it. I can show you the Garden Terror in action. So Anub'arak so far, very much enjoying. We're able to get in and do some nice damage in team fights. And we can still farm nicely in lane. Don't feel too squishy. Oh, look at that. Absolutely gutting through. Remember that because this is the first week of the Alpha Vink, you can see that bonus holiday experience, double XP. So I've got my second heroic ability already unlocked. A nice way for those who have spent some time in heroes to get themselves going. Again, oh, 3 levels straight away. 3 levels with 1 game. I also get my advanced talents. So that lets me immediately start playing with the Anub'arak exactly the way that I'd like to. Oh, another level up. But these are hero levels as well, of course. Remember, player level you can see down there too. Ooh, that was almost 4 levels on Anub'arak with 1 lost game. So, thank you so much for tuning in to tonight's Heroes Half Hour. If you are live, don't go away, we'll have 1 quick game of Hearthstone. If you are watching this on YouTube, then we do more hero stuff, so please do come and check it out. I'm just going to put up the sidebar. You can find more videos at youtube.com/FailCraft Casts. So you can grab more videos on youtube.com/FailCraft Casts, more Heroes, Storm Hero playthroughs such as that. Some of them I'm doing alright, some of them I'm taking some pain like I was today, but hopefully you can have a little look at the Heroes of the Storm and some of the Heroes' abilities for newer players. If you're watching on YouTube, do come and check us out live, twitch.tv/FailCraftCast. There is our schedule in the bottom left, and you can always see on @FailCraftCast on Twitter when we're going to go live. And last but not least, the website, failcraft.org, you can find lots of articles, bits of news, and some things such as builds and other things that don't live so well in a video. So thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully see you again soon. Take it easy. Okay, so we got time for 1 quick Hearthstone game, and then I shall bid you adieu. Okay, Legends deck. Legends deck is the call. Let's grab a Legends game.